Coming to you live from the San Francisco Bay Area. It's time for Zig in the Zone with Ralph Zig Tyko.
All right, coming to you live from Alameda, California. Give it up for Ralph Zig Tyko.
Hey, Paulie, thank you. I am back, and you are comfortably zoned with me, the Wandering Jew. In this case, I'm in Alameda. Paulie's in the Valley, and our guest is the great George Grimm. Welcome back.
Thank you. As long as you don't introduce me as the late great George Grimm.
Oh, it wouldn't be with a smile on my face, and you're going to outlive us all.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I can
and
guarantee.
here's the thing: we can add this to his accolade now. Host of the Retro Rangers podcast on Spotify. It's
That's
George
right.
Grimm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me tell you, it's a good podcast. I've listened and helped get it started, according to George. My role from that standpoint was just to get George doing it. He's a natural, and love having you do it. I got to mention, too, that you and I, George, co-wrote a book.
That's right.
I've talked about it so much on the air. Why don't you give me, there you go.
Actually, Ralph, this book, most of the time when you write a book, you have to worry about the title. You got to worry about that nobody else used the title. But I don't think anybody else ever used Comfortably Zoned in a Vat of Pine Tar before. Maybe Plato did, but his friend, Socrates said, "Hey, Phil, no."
And who does one think of when you say Punch Hall? You think
That's
of
right.
George Brett. And the only George in our book is you. We don't mention George Brett once.
Okay.
I don't know if that was deliberate. I don't think it was, but we had a great time doing it, and I still cavil because we got a book.
Yes, we do.
And that feeling is what you feel in triplicate because you've got 3 books. They're
And
all
working on a
hockey
fourth.
books. In
And
addition,
working on a fourth.
and one of the things that I thought of in the last day or so is your book on goalies.
Right.
And not only did we lose Robert Redford, who's, and I'll show you my cap, the natural, and my favorite, they say, what's your favorite sports movie? And I say, my favorite sports movie is not necessarily a sports movie in my mind, my favorite movie. And that was The Natural. Robert Redford died. And someone who got big mention in your book, rightfully so, and I hope you have that picture, Paulie, of George in his Ed Jockerman uni jersey, sweater, they used to call him.
Yes.
That was
in 1973, okay? You can tell by the pants and the sideburns. And that was a real authentic Ranger jersey. I paid $125 to have that made up at Cosby's. And that was before licensing was going on. So Cosby's had to get the permission from the ranges, and I guess from Eddie Jockman to have it made up. That they made it up. It was actually a combined Christmas birthday present from my ex-wife, but I ended up paying for it anyway. But I had that for years and years and years. I sold it a couple of years ago, and I really enjoyed wearing it for a long time. I wore Ranger games. I didn't wear it to any games. I didn't play any games in it because I was afraid of tearing it and doing whatever could
If
happen
I'm
to
not
it. But,
mistaken, that was a woolen jersey.
well,
Am I-
they were made out of the same material that the old football jerseys used to be made of. You know that shiny on one side and like flannel on the other. Um, it was that. Now they're mesh and everything, but and this is after wool. This is in between wool and mesh. So they they washed very well, and I had to hang it up to dry, but it worked out well.
Beautiful.
And you
Beautiful.
got rid of it a couple of years ago. You sold it.
Yeah, I sold it a couple of years ago for twice the price I paid for it, so that was good. And because I just didn't have any use for it anymore. So because I just didn't have the. It was just taking up room in the closet, and I had my memories, and I didn't need it anymore. So
Oh, there you go.
Mm. So tell me a little bit about the depth of your podcast. You have two line mates, if you
yes,
would.
my AARP line mates, Mark Weisman and Rich Isaac. They're both AARP members. That's why we call them my AARP line mates, and we have a lot of fun. I mean, we poke each other. We know each other's buttons to push. Uh, Mark plays the Ranger Victory song before every episode, and I always thank him for playing that up in the rafters of our huge Retro Ranger studio. And we've had some very good guests lately. We had Kenny Albert on a couple weeks ago, and we had Craig Patrick on for the second time,
A
and
Hall of
in
Famer.
a Hall of Famer. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to have Jiggs McDonald, who's also a Hockey Hall of Famer. And
Oh,
so
wow.
we're doing pretty well. And and now with the Rangers' 100th anniversary coming up, I'm looking for other uh, ex-Rangers to come on. I have a contact list of people that I can call, and hopefully they'll come through.
Hmm. Oh, well, that's interesting. Here we go. Live back in studio. That's good.
We're back. Paulie had a little mess up, and that's the way it goes with technical stuff. It's much different than the old days. When I was a kid, we talk into a paper cup with a string.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to pull the string tighter. Pull the string tighter next time. Oh,
Well, it's it's one of the built-in um, problems, if you will, with technology. It isn't. You can't depend on it in that way. And Paulie's pointing to stuff. I don't.
I was trying to get my producer to work with me. My producer. I needed the fan to go on. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Let me ask a question then. Uh, we'll pick up where we started. Who designed the Retro Ranger, and put the camera down a little so we can see the whole thing, George. There you go.
Actually,
That's a
Mark Wiseman designed the logo itself. Um, we We didn't have a logo for a long time. We just had my face on the Facebook post, and that I got tired of that. So Mark did the logo, and then Steve Choppy ran with it, and he gave me, Mark, and Rich these beautiful T-shirts, and we've been wearing them in good health ever since.
Beautiful. Now, Steve Chappie, you and I did a podcast on Comfortably Zoned
Yep.
before you branched out, and that
Yeah.
was one of the most enjoyable real podcasts I did. It's before the video, but it was great. So when you talk to Steve, say hello from me.
Well,
And
when this comes out, I'll send him a link to this because he should see it.
beautiful,
Yeah. So
beautiful.
I
See?
send links to everybody. Anything we do, I send them a link, whether they want it or not. So, when we had Kenny Albert on, everybody got a link. So, because
Yeah,
that was a big get for us. So and then when it was over, we all went, we just told you Kenny Albert. And but it was cool. We have fun. That's the main thing. So,
absolutely. And the memories that it elicits keeps your minds young.
that's right.
Um, so um, I'm happy you're enjoying it. And like I say, with the logo, it's
Hmm.
come a long way.
Yep.
Now, we were off the air for a second, and you were talking about an expression that you were taught by somebody to the likes of never hurts to ask.
Right.
Can
Right. Barry
who?
Watkins of the Ranger PR department back in the 80s when I was doing sports stat at Ranger Report. I got a press pass from him. And, we would, hang around and talk. And he would, I would ask him for something. And he would tell me, it never hurts to ask. And that was the best advice I've ever gotten from anybody. Because that's what you have to do. You got to ask. I don't think anyone can read your mind as far as what you want. So you have to ask for it, and they'll either say yes or they'll say no. And you live with the answer. You know, you have
Yeah,
to take it
and
as it comes.
you're absolutely right. And I had a short little story on the in 1970. I got out of the Air Force and went to work selling insurance, which I had been doing before I was in the Air Force. As a 19-year-old kid, 18, 19 years old, on a debit in Harlem. And I reminisce about the days in Harlem with Sam Stith periodically, who was a New York Knickerbocker at one time and has been a frequent guest and a friend. And we talk some real stuff. So if anybody ever wants to go into our archives at Comfortably Zoned and punch in Comfortably Zoned on YouTube and Sam Smith, you'll enjoy that. But my point of the story is before I digressed, and I tend to ramble, Paulie knows that,
Not at
but
all.
I'm not at all.
Yeah, right.
And
You
right,
you know the
exactly.
song, the Allman Brothers song, "Ramblin' Man"
Yeah.
was for you.
All right. Well, I get 2.0 on that one.
There you
But
go.
my point was, they taught me a fellow by the name of Dick Neal, who was my insurance manager at the time. And he taught me the exact same expression, not with the same words, but it never hurts to ask. The worst that can happen is people could say no. And I found that easy to do with women at one time. Um, I've gotten off that habit because they may say yes. Um, anyway, same thing works in whatever you're doing. You ask what can happen. They're not going to shoot you
That's right.
unless you,
Life goes on.
yes, yes. Paulie, can you give me an example of that so I can stop talking from your life experience so I can stop talking for a
About
second
women? About women?
about anything? I mean,
Well,
um,
so we've been staying away
but
from politics, which is good. It's really
yes,
good when three guys can get together and not talk about politics. We haven't stayed away
and
from sports, but hey, we're three guys getting together. We should talk about sports. That's way better than talking about politics. Do you remember
and
back in do you well, do you
talking
remember back
about
in
life.
you remember like 70s and back? It was rude if you talked about politics or religion. You know, it was like, oh shit, it's Thanksgiving and here comes Uncle or whoever, and they're the ones that always start that shit, and it's like, oh no, we're in trouble. So I remember when there was some decorum, no politics, no religion. The TV even had manners. Do you remember when television had manners? It knew when to go to bed. It would play the
Right.
it would play the flag would go up, you'd hear the national
Yep.
anthem, and then all
Yep.
you'd hear is for about 6
A-
hours.
After Johnny
TV.
Carson,
People go,
after
these
Johnny
young
Carson,
and these young kids would come to me. Now they come to me and they go, "You had YouTube when you were a kid?" I go, "Yeah, we called it a TV."
Mm-hmm.
And you couldn't
with
fast
three,
forward through the commercials.
Nope.
You couldn't pause it. You had to be there when it happened. Remember the
Yeah.
telephone? We didn't have these devices on us all the time. We didn't have these NASA computers that would fit in like 8 rooms sitting in our pocket. You know,
Right. Right. Think
my
about
phone,
how many
my phone.
times
My
your
go ahead.
parents didn't know where you were.
Right,
Growing up.
and I think I talked
They
about
had
this
no idea where you were.
a couple shows ago. I think we mentioned this too. When did you have to be home when you were a kid?
When the lights went on.
There.
right?
Sun was down before the lights came on, and the lights would come on kind of slowly. And if they started to
Right.
creep on, you were running.
Or
Right.
probably when I was real young, I lived next to a house that had a kid named Walter, and his mother used to yell out the window,
Walter, it's time to
because
come
Walter was
home.
all over the place. Yeah. So then we knew that, well, if Walter had to go home, I guess we had to go home too. But
Oh, that's funny. So that's how my
yeah.
older brother would ditch me. So if I tried to hang out with the older kids, my brother would turn around and go, I hear mom calling you. And I'd turn around
Yeah.
and go, huh? And those 5 kids would take off. And I'd be sitting there on the street corner going, damn, they left me again.
Mm,
You know, the only thing different between California and New York is in New York they say, "Hey, go home, your mother's calling."
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and
Yeah,
here's
we
and
had a
this
kid.
and we have a few generations between us. We have at least 2, right? So it's kind of funny because we still grew up with that same nomenclature. You know,
Yeah.
some of that same stuff. I didn't even have to say it to George, and he was like, when the lights went on. It's like,
You
yeah.
know,
What
we
about
also
telephones? Everybody had that telephone in their kitchen on the wall.
Yep.
Ours was
Wall.
avocado green, and it had a
Mhm.
cord that would reach all the way to the front
Everybody.
room.
And rotary dial.
It was a
oh,
rotary
I'm older,
dial, and it had the
right?
cord so long that your mom stretched it for so long. It was probably supposed to be a 20-foot cord, but your mom been stretching it for so many years, it's a 30-foot cord.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, I remember it very, very vividly.
Hey, two things. You had a Walter, I had a Jeffrey, whose mother was Lil, and whose mother, when she wanted him, would come to the schoolyard and scream, Jeffrey, Jeffrey. And poor Jeffrey would have to go over to his mom. But
And I'm guessing that happened all the way through high school.
yeah, oh, it's probably, he's a cantor. Interesting story. He was a great singer as a kid, never got a rock and roll contract. When he applied for a job as a cantor, which is a great job, you only work Saturdays, and everybody loves you because you sing nice music. And they're all religious, and he was religious. But funny thing, on his job application, he put, got a rock and roll contract with somebody, which he never had.
Right.
I was always amused by that, because if you get a job in religion, you should be honest enough not to lie. Because
Yeah,
if you,
I guess. Yeah.
and I don't blame him, because he was Jeffrey anyway.
We had a kid on the block who, every time things got a little tough, like people started pushing each other, he would hear his his uh his home calling him. Oh, I hear my mother calling me, and then he has to
Yeah.
go home. No one else would hear this kid,
Right.
the kid's mother, but he would hear
His escape,
his
his
mother calling him, and
excuse.
he'd go home.
But
Yeah.
that's funny.
Okay, so
Did you?
so hold on. What kind of games did you guys play when you were kids in the street and you didn't have much? So I remember things like kick the can, hide and seek.
We had
You guys,
stickball.
did you guys have? That's what I was gonna say. So we kind of played stickball, but it wasn't really stickball. We would pick up a big old stick and start hitting rocks and oak. What is it? The balls of oak that come down and stuff like that. But you guys actually, did you guys actually play stickball like we see in the
Oh
movies?
yeah.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
played.
And there were
We played.
variations. You could play different things. You could
Yeah.
play off a stoop,
Right.
pitching in,
Football. Yeah.
hitting
With a
yourself,
straw.
hitting the ball yourself.
Yeah.
It depends on where you got to play. Sometimes you'd be in the park, sometimes on the street, and games got very intense.
Well,
And
and so I think that's where I grew up with. Let's say I'm getting my finger quotes up now. Privilege, because I was a product of the '60s, child of the '70s. You guys are like products of the '40s, child is the '50s,
50s for
'50s.
me, 60s. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay,
50s.
so you guys are 10 years behind me. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I had, when I was growing up, they invented a thing called the wiffle ball and wiffle bat. That
We
was
had
my
that
stick ball.
again.
So we had that. We didn't really, we were privileged, and we grew up after that fact. And so I definitely remember playing wiffle ball and wiffle bat in the streets with my friends. We used to have a thing after wiffle ball and wiffle bat. They had a thing called, I think it was fat bat or big bat, but it was basically a wiffle ball and wiffle bat. But the bat was like it was a bigger around, and the ball was a little bit bigger than the baseball. It was almost like the softball size. And we could have a real game of baseball in like a parking lot of like your, shopping center or something. And if it hit a car, you weren't breaking windows.
Yeah.
We could go to anywhere. We could go to a field, we could go to a beach, and we could pick up a game. We did a lot of that. We didn't play football, but we were all about Nerf football.
Uh,
You guys didn't have Nerf football when you were growing up, right?
We
no,
played.
But you remember it. Oh. So, I mean, I grew up with Nerf footballs. You guys know what a Nerf football is, right? But you just didn't really, it wasn't invented until like what, this late 60s, early 70s.
we played that in the Air Force instead of working. Had an office in the warehouse, and we'd go out and play Nerf football.
Okay, so
So
when you were older in
that
recreation,
was in
so in the service.
'68.
Yeah, there you go. So in 68, you were
66.
playing with a Nerf football. Okay. That
Right.
makes sense. I was born in 67.
And guess what? We also played, and I'll bet you did too, George, indoors when it was cold. We played sock basketball. We'd roll up a
Oh,
socks
sure. Sure.
into a ball and shoot it at the lamps, at the lampshades, and guard
Or
each
waste
other.
baskets or whatever, right? And so
Right.
again,
Exactly.
you guys had to make do with a lot of stuff. So I remember even playing with sticks and muds and playing with a stick out in the dirt and stuff like that. I remember real simple things like that, and even like you were just saying, rolling up socks. I remember doing that as a kid and making throwing your laundry all over your damn room a game. And so, but we also, I guess, I grew up in that later age where we had the Nerf basketballs that were the size of softballs, and we had the little hoop on the back of the door. That's kind of
Right.
all that stuff came out when I was a kid. I was really fortunate. Our first video game when I was a kid, I remember my mom, like in 1975, bringing home something. She goes, "Oh, your grandfather's client got this, and it's for you guys." And we plug it into the TV, and I said, "What's this?" And they said, "It's a video game," and it was Pong. And
Right.
so I grew up in a really unique age of innovation. And so a lot of the real simple stuff was capitalized on, right? Somebody got the idea of making a sock ball and throwing it into your waste basket, a Nerf ball and a hoop that hangs over the back of your door.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Right? Somebody made $1
And
million.
they made a lot of money off it.
Right, it made a lot of money of it. So think about how many things have you given up over the years that would have been your $1 million idea? Do you guys any of you guys have those that you can think of that you're like, "Oh, I was the first one that thought of wheels on suitcases."
Yeah.
I
Well,
strapped
George,
my son's roller skates to it, and it was 1963. I don't know. But do you guys have anything like that you can think of?
I can think of one. George and I had an idea that if we wrote the best contemporary golden age of baseball book, it would make $1 million. It didn't, but it was $1 million book. Hold the book up again, George.
And hold it up and block your face. There you go. That's right. It is Comfortably Zoned in a Vat of Pine Tar with Ralph, Zig, Tyko, and George Grimm. You can get your copy. That's right. Get your copy on Amazon today. But if you want to actually get it personalized, good luck. No, I mean, reach out to us here at the Comfortably Zoned Network, and we'll take care of you.
Yes, we'll get right on that. We'll personalize everything we can and do the best we can.
Can I tell you
And
the best inscription I've ever had in a book? Somebody autographed a book for me, and it was the best inscription. And I'll share it with you because I know Zig could probably carry on this tradition of signing his books this way. He said, "Enjoy the book." He goes, "Pass it around like a good joint. Make sure everybody gets a hit off of it.
That's great.
And
That
it
is
was and
great.
it was Patrick Carlin, George Carlin's brother, about his book.
Wow. Wow.
Well, there he
Wow.
is. There's his little name somewhere behind me. There we go. So yeah,
That's a great story. I I love that, and I will remember in case anybody ever asks me to personalize a book, and they have. I've had some book signings here and there, and the memories of writing it. George, we would meet on the phone on Fridays, and I always look forward to our conversation.
Ralph always wanted more chapters on the games, the Stratomatic games, things like that.
Oh
And
yeah,
and I hated them. I hated them. We had one chapter, I think, maybe two. It's like, no, no, no. Have people talking about games, real games. No. He kept bringing up these
and I
games.
so
These
love
games.
those games. To this day, I have a league going. It's called Baseball Mogul on the computer, and I have 6 teams in my league. The 51, um, I'm sorry, the 53 Yankees, the 54 Giants, the 55 Dodgers. Um, what else? The Yankees of 61, the Giants and Dodgers playing in 55. I think those are the only 6 teams I have. But I continually put the computer on, thanks to the computer that um, was traded or donated by Paulie B. And that
yeah.
keeps my
I'm glad
mind
you're getting used to that. I'm glad you're getting used to that. I'm glad you're having fun with that.
very much so. And I found a hangout where I have a green room before the game, Starbucks in Alameda at South Shore Drive. And I plug in the computer, I buy a mocha, and I go out to the car for a hitski every now and then. That's my want. It's a good life. I also have been enjoying Alameda weather, um, especially the last 2 or 3 weeks. Beautiful weather. Um, how's the weather by you, George?
It's actually turning into fall now. The temperature's up around 70 for the past couple of days. We had a tough summer. We had a very, very hot summer in parts, and we had some weeks where we had a lot of rain. But lately we haven't had any rain. But it's been cooler, and fall is coming next week, so it should remain cool. So we're looking forward to that. I like fall better than the summer. I like fall and spring.
Well, I like summer, and I'll tell you who likes summer is Paulie B, who lives in the valley, in the Sacramento Valley. You live in a lot of places. You live in,
I
um,
do. I'm kind of a nomad. I'm kind of a gypsy. I even have the hair for it, folks. And so I float around. I do what I do.
yeah.
I am the social butterfly of
Oh,
probably
that
us
you
three.
are. You just did Comedy Day,
Oh yeah,
and
I even got my colors on there. There we go. Yeah, just did
yeah,
Comedy Day. That was a blast. Always a blast to hang out in Golden Gate Park, in front of Hippie Hill, in Robin Williams Meadow. It's always a beautiful time there. I always feel connected. It's great because I can sit in the meadow and feel connected to Robin, or I can go up on the hill and feel connected and inspired by all my heroes, right? Everybody from Janis Joplin to the Grateful Dead to Jimi Hendrix, you name it. they've all sat on that hill and gotten inspired. We'll call it inspired.
Wow.
And so,
Absolutely. um, tell George, Paul, if you would, about Comedy Day itself. I know Jose Simon.
yeah, Jose Simone and Robin Williams created this. This is their baby. They created it some 44 years ago. And it was their way of giving laughter back to the masses in San Francisco. And originally it was done at the Band Shell. It's had a couple different venues, but it's landed in Robin Williams Meadow, which was originally Sharon Meadow. And it was named after kind of a robber baron of sorts. But we went in as comedians. It was, I believe, 6 years ago now. I have to go back. It's like 6 years ago. We went and volleyed with the city and got it renamed Robin Williams Meadow, which was great, just in time for the pandemic. and the pandemic to really shut everything down, even events, getting us all together and something like that. You know, they were calling it super spreader events. So yeah, no, that put a kibosh on things, but it was great. We were able to go in and rename the meadow, put up the signage for it. There'd been a bench there at the foot of Hippie Hill that was dedicated to Jose Simone, I believe, some 10 years before that. So that's been our home for a better part of 18 years, I believe it's been in that meadow. And so I started off, as most comedians do, as just a volunteer at that event. It's kind of our annual picnic, if you will. It's the once a year that all the comedians can kind of see each other in the Bay Area. We also get to hobnob with some really cool people that have, veterans of comedy that have been in it for 30, 40 years that were all friends with Robin, that still perform at this event. They usually it's one stage, 5 hours, 40 comedians, 1 million laughs. That's their tagline. And so they literally, every hour they have a new set of comedians. Each set of comedians has a different theme. Like the first set is like newcomers to the stage. Second is like seasoned Bay Area people. Another one might be a group of comics that have done outstanding things for the community, and they kind of fluctuate those. But by the last set of comedians, the last hour, it's all the people we've known. Like in the last couple of years, it's been people like Dana Gould, Margaret Cho, Brian Posehn, Tom Rhodes, Paula Poundstone. Paula Poundstone's been there for like 3 years in a row. This year was the triumphant return of Will Durst to the stage. He suffered a heart attack, or I'm sorry, he suffered a stroke, I believe 5 years ago. He was in the wings waiting to go on stage, and he goes, I feel kind of weird, feel kind of bad. I need to go sit down. Next thing you know, he's having a stroke. And so he's been going through physical therapy and all this stuff for years. And the producer of the show, Comedy Day, is produced by Debbie Durst, which is Will Durst's wife. And we've been waiting. We've been waiting for his return, and it was great. He closed our show out the other day, and it was a great way to return to the meadow and celebrate laughter. So, yeah.
That's heartwarming. 5 years of recovery, and he must have been thrilled to be back on stage.
Oh, yeah, and he got such a warm response, and he was funny as hell, dude. He was funny as hell. He took on even this Trump stuff, which, again, I'm not going. But he even took
No.
on he even took on the thing about the guy that just got shot, and he didn't make fun of it. But you know, he shed light on some stuff that was kind of like, you know, I like irreverent comedy, and he kind of was able to make it absurd. And again, there's no place for violence in politics. There's no place for I'm definitely been told on more than one occasions too soon. But you know, here he did it. He did something. It was too soon, but it wasn't tacky. It wasn't done in. I've seen some vitriol out there and some people going at it from both sides. He just kind of he did it very well, and so yeah, no, I'm glad to see him back and doing what he does best, which is entertaining us and making us laugh and think. So.
Hey, Paulie, can you run our bits?
I am,
Keep
and
the
I'm gonna mute you guys and hang up on you. And while I'm doing this, I'm gonna come back to you. Okay? So I'm gonna hang up on you and come back because your mic's starting to do that thing. But yes, I will, guys. We are gonna be talking. Go ahead.
Okay.
And then, Paulie, I want George to tell us about the 3 books that he's written,
Good.
because you're the most prolific New York Ranger writer
No,
in the
actually,
world.
Stan Fischler is, but I'll take. I'll
And
take that.
no, you are. Stan Fischler is the most prolific hockey writer.
Hockey, right? Yeah. Did you know that
Okay.
Stan's not in the
George
Hockey Hall of
Grimm.
Fame?
So
Yes.
hold that thought, you guys. Hold that thought.
Okay.
We'll be right back after this, guys, and don't go away because this is what pays the bills.